Hi there, welcome. I'm Lou,
John?
and this is a series on the big acronym, the overview acronym of Bottled Up, the Bottled Up program, which is HOPE, and we've done HOPE. Oh dear, I'm gonna put a blank. Okay.
Yes, we've done
Assess
hope.
the harm.
We've done assess the
Yeah.
harm.
Survey the options.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now we're doing
Promote
change. Yeah.
Okay.
To some extent, we have covered some of this.
Yeah.
But if you start to look at the program and you start to say, well, how does it all fit together? Then if you look at assess the harm, then that's really about using the tool share. That's what that's about. That, and share is very important and very powerful in that respect. When you start to look at promote change, then you're actually using a slightly different tool. Well, a completely different tool actually, which is love. And that's about how do people change. If you look at how people change, there are generally two things. And we've talked about this in many videos, which is there's the negative and the positive. The carrot and the stick. So people change because bad things are happening, or they change because they want good things to happen, and that's if we go back to love, and if we look through love, then what we find is the beginning of love is let the negatives happen. If you're doing something and there's lots of negatives, but it doesn't affect you in the slightest, why would you change? I mean, there are people who come to me and I say, well, what? Why do you want to stop drinking? And go, oh, well, and they say, tell me something vague. And I say, well, it doesn't sound as if, either you want to stop drinking or even you should stop drinking if that is true. Because they're not aware of the negative things happening. And if you are running about saving him or her from it, you're cleaning up after them, you're making sure that no harm comes to them, and I'm not talking about physical harm here.
I'll talk about that in a
bit.
bit.
Very important about that. But if they're not aware of the negatives of the negative consequences of their drinking, why should they change? If it's not broke, why fix it? The other option is when we talked about in love the O, which is to optimize your time when they're sober. Why when I was giving up drinking, I thought, well, I'm going to the elephant's graveyard now. You get X amount of alcohol and X amount of fun in your life, and I've just used them both up, and I just need to sit here and wait till I die, and please let it be soon. But if you optimize that time rather than arguing about it all the time, try and plan something fun, try and plan something good to have. Look what happens that doesn't involve alcohol, obviously, and look what we can do when you're sober. So the two aspects are there.
Yeah. I mean, there are binge drinkers that's kind of easier to plan because it's usually between binges. If usually drinking gets worse as the day goes on, so even going out for breakfast or something that it is quite hard if you can't, if in your response to that you can't think of any way of doing it.
Nobody's saying any of this is easy.
No, and we do address this. Do go and listen to other videos, because we do talk about the parameters of what rescuing is and what you probably shouldn't rescue, because it will rebound on you, and that's obviously shopping him or her with his boss, and so just make sure that you understand the dynamics of rescuing, and you don't go completely crazy with that one, because it might end up making things kind of worse for you.
This is why we have this kind of overarching view. This is why we have a strategy involved here. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you actually actively make it happen.
And I have to say that I was desperate for change, but I'm not sure that I knew how to promote change. And when we did a while back, we did love, and we got some kind of knee-jerk reactions, because it just feels so counterintuitive.
It is counterintuitive.
To kind of do anything positive. But for example, I'm a counsellor, and I work a lot with broken relationships. And if I'm trying to bring about reconciliation, I don't sit down with let's just say a man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, and I tell them their faults as I see them. I tell the other person's faults as they see them, and then I suggest they say their faults to each other. I won't get reconciliation at that point. I'll get probably a domiciliary and war. So it might make them feel better, but in terms of trying to get any sort of harmony, that would be ridiculous. So again, coming in. So what I would do is, I see this in you, I see that in you. Why don't you say, well, you first fell in love, and what were the good things you saw about each other? Obviously, that's the way I would go about trying to bring a reconciliation. And that same kind of pattern works here, doesn't it, as well? That you don't lead with you've done this to me. God, the number of times I did that. You actually...
We've all done that.
Yeah.
You did, because we all want to be heard. Nobody actually wants to listen.
Yeah.
That is part of the problem. But the thing is, it's about calling the good out of the person.
Yeah.
I talked when we were talking about love, about how my boss had said, that I was not a lost cause. And that was very important for me, because that was saying, you're worth it. Back to the Oreo advert, you're worth it. And that's really, really powerful in people, that you're not telling them how bad they are, but telling them how good they could be. And that's important.
So, try lobbing. I really miss us going up and doing that walking. I was thinking the other day about that incredible walk we had when we went right up the top of the Tor, and we looked, Tor, T-O-R, that's a kind of a rocky outcourse, and we looked right over Dartmoor, and it was really amazing. And I was just thinking what a great time we had. Try lobbing that into the conversation.
Yeah, just going into character now.
Yes.
Just in case you're wondering,
Yes.
It's about bringing good memories where we were together, where booze wasn't involved in it. You remember when we did this? You remember when we did that? You remember, these were good times.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we do it again? And okay, it's not a panacea. It's not going to cure everything, but it's going to start. And if you're sowing a seed into somebody's head, then you never know, it might start to grow. So it's. If the negatives are happening to them and you're not clearing up after them, and you're offering a positive as well, then you're fighting it on two fronts.
And remember, deep inside, your drinker is thinking, I am wrecking this family. Probably you're telling them that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I am a wreck is, again, so for you to actually remind good things, even affirm good things, like if for a while they play with the children, and it goes really well, just say, that's really great, they really loved playing with you, Dad. So again, to just remind them, because they will then begin to feel, perhaps this is worth saving, perhaps there is something here that I can
may
salvage.
be very, my wife, she was a great woman, but she was very quick to tell me where I got it wrong. She wasn't as quick to tell me where I got it right. And sometimes we need that as well.
Yeah.
That's part of the encouragement, So if you start to see some change, encourage that change.
Yeah.
Recognize that change. Go, too little, too late. No, just encourage it,
Very, very easy to do. I mean, one of the greatest wars with me and my drinker was they were inclined to just drink in the middle of the lounge. For 3 or 4 days at a time, and it was awful. And so gradually I managed to get them to go up to our bedroom and kind of do it there. Now, it would have been so easy for me to go into, I'm so bloody weltered, but actually to just sit down and say, thank you so much, that has made such a difference.
Yeah.
And, again, you have to be really careful not to get mad when they were just about to get to the bad bit of drinking, just to say, it makes such a difference. When you go upstairs, darling, it makes a difference when you go upstairs, And if I'd at that point said, go upstairs, he wouldn't have done it again.
If your drinker is a shame-based drinker, and many of them are, because they drink to get rid of the shame that they feel. They wouldn't admit out loud about the shame, but deep down inside there is a lot of shame. Then what they're doing shames them even worse. So they drink to get rid of that, which increases the shame, and this is the vicious circle. And if you kind of are throwing sort of shame grenades in there, then, it actually is counterproductive, because, when my wife sort of threw the shame grenades at me, and I'm not saying I didn't deserve them. Oh, I did. Everything she said was true. There was no doubt about it. But she hadn't got to the end of the sentence, and I was in the pub. So, it may be true what she was saying. It may have been justified what she was saying. It might have been the right thing for her to say at that time. But in terms of the outcome, counterproductive. It was not working.
Yeah. Again, to go back to my counselling room, people do not function well in stress. They don't come out with the best version of themselves. And so you'll get people come, they're stressed and they're not behaving very well. Now again, if I sat there going, oh dear, they would never come back again. You just care, you just wrap them around with care.
Yeah.
You keep your eyes on the person that they truly are, and you begin to work with them. And it is really powerful.
Yeah.
It's how counselling works. So again, that's why you do it, and you're probably thinking, oh, why should I? Well, the reason why you should is because it works and it helps. Yeah. One more thing, though, about change with a drinker. It is not like that. It's like this, up, down, down. It doesn't go in a straight line in any way, shape or form, does it?
Yeah. No. I mean, one of the most common and most inaccurate comments I've ever heard, there's a lot of people say it. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Broken bones heal. Psyches don't. Well, they do, but not very quickly.
Sorry.
And we have to remember that. They've got it the wrong way around.
Sorry, that was really an ending of what we were talking about before, wasn't it? So just then, I'm sorry, I didn't realise that you had things to say. So that is really important. So just to get back to the change and what it looks like, you don't be disheartened if one day you feel you're getting the sun and the moon, and the next day you feel it's going backwards, because I say it's like a descending spiral. It looks as if it's a vicious circle, but if you keep doing the things that change, then it does get kind of smaller and smaller. But we can't promise it. We can't promise it. The very bottom line we can promise is, if you go through this program and you leave, you can truly look at your family and yourself in the mirror and said, I've really tried, really done what I can. And that's the very bottom line, and that's worth being able to do as well. So. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
We'll talk about evaluation next.
Yes, that's the last thing, is evaluate.
The E.
The E, yes. So what does that stand for? A little bit of paper, evaluate with progress.
Yeah.
That's really important. Okay, thank you for listening. Talk to you again soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.